Another day, another gacha game launch, and being the mentally damaged individual that I am, of course I'm gonna play and see what it's all about. GIRLS FRONTLINE 2 is a post-apocalyptic tactical RPG with turn-based combat much in the style of XCOM. If you're expecting a lore primer from the first GIRLS FRONTLINE game, I'm afraid you'll be disappointed, as I've not played it and whatever happened there will be forever lost to time. The premise of the sequel, however, is fairly easy to follow. You are the commander, a brilliant strategist that has decided to abandon their allegiance to their former PMC and has run off into the contamination zones where he works as a bounty hunter together with a limited number of tactical dolls under his command. Since this is a sequel, the devs had to figure out a good reason as to why the entire harem you built in the first game is now gone, and it seems that after your fallout with your former PMC, everyone went their own way. Now, you're running in a mobile base vehicle called Elmo, with basically what amounts to a skeleton crew formed of Groza, Nemesis, and Mei Ling. You wake up from what I can only assume is a massive hangover, if the decorations around you are anything to go by, and you get attacked almost instantly afterwards. You get introduced to the combat system, which is surprisingly fun to get into, even if the early levels are easy to clear with barely any strategy involved, and then the story continues. Apparently, you've become a target due to the cargo that you're delivering for a contract that you've accepted previously. This cargo is a triangular pillar that's always referred to as a box and is constantly transmitting a signal to every enemy in a 500-kilometer radius, which results in your convoy being attacked over and over, taking a massive toll on your already dwindling resources. I'm not gonna lie, I was interested in what exactly this box contained for the crew to fight so desperately to protect it, and of course it's an overpowered floating lolly that saves them from danger then goes back to sleep. Well, apparently we've resorted to human trafficking. The commander really has fallen on hard times after the PMC disbanded. Moving right along, we have many more encounters with enemies both human and inhuman trying to get their hands on the box, and even though they were close to succeeding at one point, the lolly within had a few objections she wanted to bring to their attention. Since we've been constantly under attack, the commander had to call in a few favors from old friends to request backup, gear, and resources. Thankfully, they are willing to lend a hand in exchange for some pest eradication around their base. This is how we get introduced to Krolek and Kolfin, who will now be a part of your team. Sadly, I can't review more of the story because I'm time-locked by the stamina system. Just know that we've reached a point where we've managed to wake up the overpowered lolly in the box, named her Helena. She's the only human capable of surviving in the contamination zone without protective gear for some reason, and we're now having her acclimate to the Elmo. So far, the story is rather basic, but I guess it makes sense since it has to introduce you to the world. The whole theme around your interactions with the characters that you'll be pulling for is that of a found family. The commander considers every tactical doll under his command as part of his family, where he kind of takes on the role of the father figure, grows up playing the role of the mother, Nemesis and Krolek being the rivaling sisters, and Kolfin and Helena being the newly adopted daughters. So far, Mei Ling has been the only one who had the most business-oriented relationship with the commander, even though she's a crybaby 90% of the time. There's also some interesting interactions between Groza and Kolfin, who seem to be having a disagreement, but that gets resolved rather vaguely. What I do like about GF2 is that they made the main character fully voiced, so you can actually tell what their personality is supposed to be like.
それから通信装置を固定電話のチャンネルに変更、暗号化に気をつけて。グローザ、ネメシス。
I find this to be refreshing, as I'm kinda tired of the same bland, silent protagonist that's there only as a way for us to self-insert. Likewise, the cutscenes are great. While they lack a bit of the visual quality we might be used to from other competitors, GF2 does not shy away from having long cutscenes that take their time to properly show off the story from beginning to end. I don't have enough fingers to count the amount of times I thought that cutscenes in Genshin or Star Rail were too short or ended way too abruptly. Putting the story aside for now, let's talk a bit about how GIRLS FRONTLINE 2 deals with their gacha systems. Proving how much Genshin impacted the gacha space, see what I did there? We can already see that GF2 has some similarities with how they've made their character selection UI and banner UI. If you've played any gacha games in the past 4 years, then you most likely know what to expect. You've got story missions to go through that all have a stamina cost, there are bonus side missions that are slightly more challenging that don't require stamina, there are various game modes in the combat simulation section, of which I've only been able to unlock the Neural Survey game mode. You have supply missions that will reward you with character or weapon level up materials among other needed resources. There are limited time events that you can participate in, but I need to get to level 20 before I unlock those. It's your usual standard fare. The gacha currency is called collapse pieces, and this is what you'll use to pull for your banners. The units that you can pull for are categorized as vanguards for your mobile damage dealers, bulwarks for your tanks, sentinels for your high single target or AoE damage dealers, and supports for your healers. Each character can equip a weapon that you can also get from the gacha banners, which can be further customized with attachments and skins. The attachments don't seem to be capable of providing any sort of stat buffs, so you'll only be customizing your weapons for the cosmetics. Aside from weapons, you have exclusive and universal keys, which will most likely be your artifacts or relics. To further enhance your dolls, you can use the Neural Helix tab to increase various stats through unlocking enhancement nodes or by unlocking evolved nodes that add special effects to your abilities. There's also the Fortification tab, which you can upgrade by getting the character multiple times. These are your constellations or eidolons and will level up your character's skills. Moving on to gameplay, the early levels don't do anything crazy, but I've started seeing more mechanics being added to the game the more I play. A mission generally starts off with you selecting your dolls and placing them in their starting positions. From there, the battle begins and you eliminate all of the enemies on the map. Objectives can be anything from total enemy annihilation, protecting an objective, or evacuating the map in time. Missions will have 3 bonus objectives for you to complete that will net you bonus rewards in the long run, like kill a specific unit within X turns, or don't have any of your units die. Obviously, you should consider completing these to maximize the gacha currency you can earn. Later down, you'll start seeing new mechanics like levers that detonate bombs, elevators that take you to higher ground, conveyor belts that allow you to traverse more terrain than normal, and this is only what I've seen up until Chapter 3 of the campaign. Speaking of the campaign, it seems to only have 6 chapters so far. Characters all have 4 active skills, 3 basic and 1 ultimate, and a passive ability. Form your team by combining characters with skills that complement each other and you'll easily take the win. Since combat can sometimes be simplistic at the start, or you've over-leveled your characters for a particular mission, you have an auto-battle function that lets the AI take over, and you can also fast-forward your gameplay up to ×3. I'm sure more interesting content will be unlocked later down the line. I already see the whole boss battle game mode and a horde survival mode in the list of combat simulations that have yet to be unlocked. Other than that, you know the drill. You've got login rewards, beginner mission rewards, the shop is full of packs that try to convince you into spending money. There are actually so many it's a bit much. You've got character and weapon skins on sale, material packs, gacha ticket packs, 2 monthly membership cards. Yeah, you get what I'm saying, no need to harp on about this. I will say that the Battle Pass does a bit of a nice thing, which is giving you a 5-star weapon on the premium path. Normally that's not a thing in other gacha games. The thing I know people will adore, however, is the Dormitory aspect of this game. The Dormitory is a place where you can go and see your units in casual clothing, just relaxing and doing whatever they do to unwind. There is also a function available both in the Dormitory and in the character upgrade menu that allows you to control the camera however you want, and even lets you set these custom camera angles as your main menu background, so that's a bit of a nice touch. Oh, and on that note, there are also pre-made main menu backgrounds for each character that you can select from. But yeah, that's pretty much what you can expect of Girls Frontline 2 so far. It's an easy game to get into, the gameplay is simple so far, but I am having some fun with it, and it doesn't look like it'll eat too much of your time for now, since it allows you to auto-clear the repetitive missions you'll farm for materials. I don't know how it'll be once the more challenging game modes get unlocked though. Oh, right, friendly warning. This game is separated into 2 servers, Darkwinter and Howplay. Darkwinter is the US and Canada side, while Howplay is the EU, Japan, and Korea side. The game allows for crossplay among different devices, but you will not be able to switch from, let's say, the US server to the EU server without making a new account, and thus losing your progress, so make sure you pick carefully. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Also, I'm hosting a giveaway for 3 early access codes, so if you want to play Soulframe early, check out my previous Soulframe video for more details. Leave a like, comment, and a sub, and I will see you in the next one, which will be about my arch nemesis, Path of Exile 2. Until then, wait, why do I hear boss music?